I've been thinking about landscapes for a very long time. Started out, I was reading Richard Wright, Ralph Ellison, Gene Toomer. These are all writers that use the idea of exploring a city as a metaphor for self-realization. And then I sort of branched off and started looking at landscape paintings and also the reality of life in a contemporary American post-industrial city and how the two things did and did not quite connect. Oftentimes I start out with the technical making component of my work with driving around, looking for empty and abandoned buildings, then photographing them from different angles. Once I reach sort of a critical mass of buildings in my library, then I start making city blocks. Sometimes I have a really specific idea for an image, and so I'll organize buildings to sort of conform to that image. But I would say another 50% of the time, I then move my camera around my urban space until I find something that catches my eye, or that I think suggests a kind of meaning. And then I will tweak the positioning of things or add more things that will draw out more of the thing that I think the image is starting to say. Researching the empty buildings in a given city was sort of a entry point into understanding some of the dynamics. One building is actually based on the Lewis and Clark Tower. It was just constructed to be sort of like an enclosed community. It seemed like it was designed for kind of upper middle class people. There was still something kind of egalitarian about the building, like everyone got kind of like equal amounts of space and roughly the same kind of layout. And so I was really interested in like the structure of the building as kind of like a social model versus the other building that's to the left of that I'm contrasting it with, which is kind of a corporate building. The building that's in the piece called Just Steps Away, like the older building is from East St. Louis. And I think it probably was a really beautiful building when it was maintained. And there's also like a beauty to it now. And then the other one is a more modern building. And I'm really contrasting sort of two different time periods and two kinds of social orders. I think the old buildings just signify that like things no longer work that way anymore. I'm not mourning the building. I'm thinking more about like who doesn't get to be in a new building. I'm really big on like making meaning by contrasting two things. I like it as a form of critique.